Shall I?
Good. Yeah.
Can I share slides, Teresa? Yes, yeah, I can. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So, shall I start or? Yeah. Well, thank you, Teresa, and thank you, Katharina. I'm really delighted to be here with you and all these new people that are attending this event. And I'm really happy to that I can share some of my experience in this field, in mindfulness and compassion. And I think really it's fantastic that we can connect in Europe, with other teachers, other schools, and eamba, is kind of making this happening. It's quite a big kind of like a vision, to do this, something like this. I think we don't have this kind of opportunity very often. So I'm very happy. Although I'm not sure, how much I can share, because my English is a bit rusty. I find it's a bit difficult, to communicate in English, and especially when you have to, in a way, connect internally and then speak, and then all the gadgets and things. So I hope we can manage, and kind of like work together to make it easy, I'm sorry if I do any kind of mistake, or if you don't understand, let me know, please. I'll stop and try to explain myself. I'm here in Valencia, by the way, in south of Spain. Yeah, and well, as Teresa said about myself, I started over 20 years ago, meditating, especially in the background of a Buddhist tradition. And then I met Vidyamala, and I started to, learn mindfulness and compassion, kind of a secular kind of approach. And so I've been doing this for quite a long time now. And in a way, I'll share a bit of my kind of experience and understanding from that perspective, from the work of Vidyamala Burch, who is going to be as well doing a workshop tomorrow. So I think you have a chance to see her tomorrow as well. But I thought it would be good to, if we could start, for my sake and for your sake as well, with something that help us to ground ourselves and to connect with our experience, with our personal experience. So perhaps we can just, if you want to close your eye or let them just kind of rest a little bit. You don't have to see the screen. Just relax on your chair. Just try to feel stable in your posture, just notice your body, the contact of the body with the chair, with the floor, with the clothes. This is not really a meditation as such. It's more like an exercise, a meditative exercise, I would say. And it won't take too long. But I hope it will help us to ground ourselves and to connect with our experience and what we're doing. So to start with, I invite you to check where is your breath right now, where is happening in your body. Which part of your body is more kind of evident, more tangible, your breath in this moment? The sensation of your breath in your body. And I invite you to place one of your hands in that area where you feel your breath, the breath most in your body. And notice your body under your hand, just this subtle movement, subtle kind of wave that produces the air coming in and out of our body. And then I invite you to place the other hand in the place that move the most, but not as much as the first hand. Perhaps you find another place which is moving as well, not as much as the first one. Just stay with that, noticing your body, the movements, the breath. This moment of intimacy with your experience. Really getting to know what's going on with your breath. And normally, if in a normal situation, the area that moves the most in our body while we breathe is our belly. So perhaps that was the case when you placed your first hands, was your belly. If that's the case, that's great. And if not, it's okay. Still, it's good to be kind of learning, what are our kind of breathing pattern, because that will probably have an effect in our mind, in the tension in our body, in our emotion. And whenever you're ready, you can just rest your hand on your lap, your legs, and just simply continue breathing normally without altering it or doing extra efforts. Just the normal breathing. Now, see if you can start extending a bit the duration of your exhalation, make it longer. Perhaps double the time of your inhalation. If you inhale in 1, 2, 3, perhaps you can exhale in 1, 2, 3, 4. And while you're doing this, it may be better if you breathe out through your mouth. Imagine you have like a little straw in between your lips, and you kind of release the air through that straw. So kind of like little by little, the air comes out from your body. And notice what happens with your body while you do this. You may feel like your body settles a bit more, becomes quiet, perhaps more relaxed, or not. Just notice whatever is present for you. Vidyamala says, like, if you're in doubt, breathe out. It's kind of a slogan she uses. I think it's very, very good slogan to remember any time that you feel a bit stressed or anxious or in a difficult situation, just to breathe out very slowly and see what happens with your body, how it affects as well your mind, even your emotion. You might notice that something changes after doing this for a little while, or perhaps even a couple of minutes. Experience. And when you're ready, just let's come back to the normal breathing without lengthening the out breath. Just the way you breathe normally. Notice your body again. Notice your mental state. Any emotion present. Any changes that you notice. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. Become aware of the surrounding people with us. Okay. You can open your eyes when you're ready. And so here we are again. Yeah, I forgot to say my name, Dharmakirti. Thank you, Katarina. It's not written in my screen. But yeah, how did it go? Did you notice anything?
Oh, yes, of course. I have a long day today. So thank you for this session. It's really nice. I can calm myself down a little bit. But during the breathwork session, unfortunately, I find my throat so itchy. So maybe I can, I focus more on it. So take a moment just to stop, slow down on my throat too, not in my mind. Yeah, thank you for integrating and guiding us through this breath work.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay. I think perhaps we can start a bit talking about what I'm kind of my purpose, the purpose of this meeting, a part of connecting with you and with eamba and all the teachers in Europe is to tell you about a specific program. Yeah. So then I will need just 1 minute to set up the slides. Okay, let me see what. Okay, I need to do this. Okay. It's nearly ready. Nearly ready. Okay. I think we are here. Okay. So yeah, magic. So well, yeah, I wanted to call this way, living well with pain and illness, using mindfulness and compassion to free yourself from suffering. So this is a very kind of kind of strong kind of a statement, as it were, you know. And I remember when I saw the first time, it kind of like, wow, this is really something big. It's big, as a big vision, you know, to present to someone, you know, with this kind of purpose, you know. And I remember when I did my first course, I did a flyer and I invited many people, and a friend from me from the States, he said, from North America, he said, "Oh, I think there must be something wrong in your flyer." I said, "Yes, why?" I said, and he said, "Well, I mean, it's contradictory, you know, living well with pain and illness. I mean, it's not possible, isn't it?" So I said, you know, well, that's the whole point. But in a way, you know, it's quite it's kind of a paradox, you know, but it's a beautiful paradox. It's beautiful to really to see if it works, if you know, if one could live well, you know, even with pain and illness, no, and even that there's so many people, you know, living with pain and illness, and in a way, all beings live in pain and illness at one point or another, sooner or later. So perhaps you said, "Oh, this is not for me," which is happen normally when I mention pain and illness. Some people say, "Oh, this is not for me. You know, I'm not in pain or illness." But you know, I said, "Well, don't worry. You know, this sooner or later we all have that. You know, so just it's good to be prepared. You know, in a way, it's really good to train our mind, to train our heart, to train our body, to be able to integrate, you know, such an experience, because it's a universal experience." So yeah, I wanted to share a bit as well about Vidyamala. She's a very good friend, and obviously she's my teacher. Like you said, I'm part of her lineage, as it were, and she lived with chronic pain for over 40 years now. You could see when you see her, I mean, you wouldn't believe that she's got chronic pain, you know, because she's always very friendly and it's very easy to be with her, you know. And for all this time I've known her, I've never seen her, you know, in a kind of like bossy or kind of unfriendly attitude, you know. And I think it says a lot, you know, how much, you know, mindfulness and compassion have really transformed her life. And she, I mean, from being very young, 16 years old, she had an accident that damaged her spine, but also she had a chronic condition, but also later in her 20s had a car crash that injured her back again, and basically left her with quite a lot of problem in her spine, and you know, a lot of pain, then a lot of surgeries in order to help her, a lot of different type of treatment and so on. So this has been on for many years, and left her with a kind of partial paraplegia. And you know, she still experiences obviously a chronic health condition. So in a way, she's a good example of how we can work with these things, you know. And I think she came across meditation in Buddhism, joining a meditation group, and started integrating, you know, with her own kind of experience of pain. And little by little, little by little, actually, it took her many years, because she was actually kind of a pioneer in this field, you know, really applying mindfulness and compassion for a chronic pain and long-term condition. So little by little, it took her probably over 15 years to come up, you know, with certain kind of tools and practices that will help her to manage her pain. eventually she came across John Kabat-Zinn as well, and she attended a retreat with him, and I think something kind of got integrated at that moment, and she learned, you know, that she could actually use her own experience and experience of all her practice in the Buddhist tradition and the program of John Kabat-Zinn, MBSR, to share it with others. You know, this was at the beginning of the 2000s, the year 2000, and she well, it's just a little bit of history. She started to running the program, the first program, in 2001 in Manchester, in England, and since then she hasn't started. And the teacher training started in 2004, and in 2003 she founded BreathWorks, which is an organization, is a charity as well, that provides this specific program designed for pain and illness. Also, there is another version of this program called Mindfulness and Compassion for Stress, Mindfulness, which is this book, which is here behind my back. And so it's a version that is more that is applied more to stress. Yeah. So that there are two programs, but the stress program is very similar to the pain and illness program, but it's got a bit more of kind of language that address more people with stress, general stress. Here I am. I founded in 2007 RespiraVida BreathWorks in Spain. By the way, and Latin America. By the way, I want to say something about the names. You know, you see BreathWorks, which is something like, well, the breath works, which is one of the main kind of principles. And you know, if you meet Vidyamala, she will almost straight away start talking about the breath, you know, and how important it is to really use the breath, you know, to work with your mind, to work with your body, to work with your heart. And it's really a very robust tool we all have, you know, anywhere, even if we are in the middle of a prison, even if we are naked, we do have our breath, you know, and it's such an amazing tool. It could really transform our life if we can use it in our, in favor of our health. And the program is based in this book called Mindfulness for Health, and in northern states it was called You Are Not Your Pain, which is the name that has got here in Spain. Tú no eres tu dolor, which is a beautiful name, you know, in a way. You know, one of the things that always Vidyamala talks is like, you know, the sense of isolation and the sense of that you are a victim. If you have pain, you know, one feels that one is a victim, that, you know, it's happening to me, you know, it's something like kind of a punishment. What have I done in my life that for this to happen in? So this is kind of, you know, internal things that, you know, it's very common, you know, with people with pain and illness, you know, and to say this, you know, you are not your pain, is in a way saying, well, pain is not yours. It's part of being human in a way. It's a universal experience, you know. It's kind of like, it's such a relief in a way. You feel more connected with people just by understanding that idea. So it's based in this book that she wrote with Danny Penman. It's another it's a psychologist from England, and the book was translated into over 20 languages, and the recent one was in Chinese. So it's very, very, very popular, the book, all over the world, and has been awarded with the British Medical Association Award, a very important award. And The book itself is divided into chapters that represent the actual weeks of the course. Yeah. So in a way, only by reading the book, you can have a sense of what the Vidyamala's program is about. So there are over 100 teachers, MBPM teacher, trained by other breathworks or RespiraVida, and in over 27 countries around the world. So I said about breathwork that the BreathWorks, so the but also RespiraVida, I don't know if you understand Spanish, means like breathe life. Yeah. So in a way, I didn't want to take out breathworks, but I wanted to put something that is more connected with the Spanish speaking world. And so we put together RespiraVida BreathWorks, and I think people really get the point. Anyway, so that's the book. It's not the only book. She has written several books, but this is, in a way, in terms of the program, is probably the most important one. Yeah, it's all the reading of the programs are here, and also has got audios associated with it. And well, Vidyamala is really committed to. She has a really a very big vision. She's really wants to take the program to as many people as we can, in a way, and she's really wants to share these tools that she had found for dealing with her pain and her condition. And in a way, one of her vision is to really bring more kind of awareness, and to people that are living with long-term health condition, and it's 1/3 of the world's population live with a long-term health condition. So that's quite a lot of people, and so it's very important to raise awareness and bring more light to the experience, and to make more visible, like a lot of people that are with pain or with long-term illness sometimes is invisible. You don't see this, and so it's and also there is a kind of part of many people feel a bit like ashamed, to say, no one wants to say I'm ill, I got pain, but in a way, when you see Vidyamala and how she encouraged people to really kind of bring awareness and to really uy, me ha parecido Siri has just turned up, sorry. Okay, I hope she doesn't. So it's also the program is kind of the idea is kind of move from cure, to care, so it's kind of there is a quite an important difference here, and it's not that it's not important, all the conventional treatments that are available, that's fine, but also we need to create a culture of care, and this is kind of like what the program address in a way. Well, this is more or less what I said, and one thing that always Vidyamala says is like, the program is about getting your mind to work with you rather against you when the body hurts. So I think she's always trying to find very simple kind of language to reach more and more people that they really need to understand this. So she wants to really reach a wide audience, not to just people that are into mindfulness or the light meditation. So you will, if you meet her, you will see that this is part of her vision. Then before the first book, she wrote another book, which is Living Well with Pain and Illness, Using Mindfulness to Free Yourself from Suffering. This was her first book, but it's actually a very good book, but it's kind of more academic, perhaps. So you really need to be interested in mindfulness to read this book. And I think it's the first one that I shown you is more for general public, really. And this is one of the definitions of mindfulness that Vidyamala offers in this book. Living in the moment, notice what's happening and make choices in how you respond to your experience rather than being driven by habitual reaction. So in a way, the second part of the definition is kind of the outcome of being mindfulness, being aware. So what an amazing outcome, you are actually, you have more choice, how to respond to your experience. But in order to make choices, one needs to know what's going on in our experience. So it's, in a way, it's a very, very good, and it's got ethical also kind of elements as well. And this is a brief kind of explanation of what a participant will kind of get after attending the course. Yeah. So they will undergo a profound change in how they relate to their experience or their condition. Yeah. They have learned how to experience the body and physical sensation directly, unmediated by the mental and emotional reactions towards unpleasant or painful bodily experience. And this is also very, very important, just to see into the fluid, ever-changing nature of all experience. This is really a concept, a key Buddhist concept of the Buddhist psychology, which is impermanence, is to see that everything is changing constantly. So to see this really dissolves tendency to relate to pain or any unpleasant symptoms as a concrete, fixed or rigid. And then to no longer experience difficulty as a cause of isolation, which is something that I mentioned earlier. So participant will develop a sense of common humanity, and where any experience is an opportunity to empathy and connectedness. So I think this is really something very basic, but not so basic, really 4 points, but really this, you have a sense of someone finish the course, they will have this kind of kind of learning that they can take with them to their life. So I'll show you just one slide about a bit of research in the program. And the program has kind of over 15 years of research. There's a lot of research that has been done in the program. One of them is an evaluation of self-reported evaluation on this catastrophizing subscale. Sorry, it's difficult to say this word, pain catastrophizing subscale. This subscale has many items, as people have to answer this item. For instance, the item rumination is with thoughts like, I can't stop thinking about how much it hurts. So that you can see the blue one is before the course and the yellow is after the course. Magnification is, I'm afraid that something serious might happen, Again, before and after, and helplessness. There's nothing I can do to reduce the intensity of my pain. Recently, the end of 2002, the University of the Basque Country here in Spain released in the Mindfulness magazine the randomized control trial research, and well, with a very, very good results, very good conclusion, moderate to large effects in favor of the intervention group in pain management and acceptance, use of analgesic, psychopathological system, negative thought, self-blame, mental health related quality of life, and resilience. These are very, very kind of important conclusion of this research. You can access them in BreathWorks website, also in RespiraVida website, both. Okay, let's move on. I'll tell you a bit about the course format. You know, Vidyamala started when already John Kabat-Zinn already kind of had this his program MBSR. So it's in a way she built up on that program that you know from that program, and also around, I think at the beginning of the 2000, I remember it was 2003 or 2004. Started the MBCT, you know, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, you know, with Mark William and others, that they produced this program for relapsed depression. And so there's a lot of elements from MBSR and MBCT in the course formats and the MBPM course format. And of course, the duration is 8 weekly sessions of 2.5 hours, and there is an extra session, which is after the last session. It could be 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, of at least 2.5 hours. Then the groups is very important, because the ratio of the groups are 12 to 15. Normally even lesser than that is most common. And this is very important because it's such a delicate subject that you're dealing with. It's not really general stress, as it were, that you really need to you know, have a lot of sense of the participant, and really kind of have a good, you know, create a good environment. So you really need to hold the group, you know, and for that it's very important, you know, to have a small group, you know, otherwise for a big group it would be very difficult to do this type of course. I don't think I would recommend to do this course with, I don't know, 30 people, for instance. It would be very difficult. And then there is a daily home practice of 15 minutes, because, well, I would say a bit more about what the daily practice about. It could be in person or online. And there are 6 meditations practices for managing pain and illness. I will talk about them shortly. These practices are of the duration of 10 minutes up to 15-20 minutes. So it could vary. There are many versions, so it can be used accordingly. But the idea is that you do more practices during the day, not just one long practice. And this is very much to do with the particular population that the program is addressed for, you know, because people with pain and illness will have a lot of limitations in terms of how they move, how they can sit, and so on. So that they really need to be short practice. So this is a quite important difference that to other programs like MBCT or MBSR. And there are like 21 key concepts throughout the whole kind of program. And I won't talk about them, don't worry. I will talk about one key concept, because I think it's the key concept. I'll tell you later. Key elements throughout the course. Okay. Well, I already mentioned, you know, this is mindfulness and compassion. You know, in a way, we are really writing the word compassion because we want to be there, visible. But from the perspective of the program, of Vidyamala program, and even from the Buddhist perspective, you wouldn't need to use the word compassion or kindness, because mindfulness is embodied with compassion and kindness. It cannot be another way. But because we are trying to communicate this in a secular word, we need to really emphasize in this aspect to also to give a kind of like an ethical kind of framework and to raise awareness of this aspect of mindfulness, which sometimes is overlooked, sometimes manipulated, and it could become a bit free, kind of aloof, or cool, a bit distant, so that there's a lot of positive emotion, of development of positive emotion, cultivation of skillful qualities, like all these qualities that come from the Brahma Viharas: metta, karuna, upeksha, and mudita, which are kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. And you will see that these are very well represented in the course, in the meditation practices. There is a whole kind of program of mindful movement throughout the course, and these are very, very simple movement based in yoga and Pilates and Qigong. But so what the emphasis is in the quality of the movement. It's not in repetition. We don't even talk about exercises, because it's exercise in itself, it's already called for repetition. These are movements, so you're emphasizing in the quality of the movement and how you can really connect with the sensation, with your body. It's so common that when we are in pain and we are in a long-term illness, we kind of like don't do much, and our body, start losing a lot of muscles, a lot of flexibility, and that it becomes a kind of a vicious cycle that really makes it more difficult, to work with our pain, with our condition. And also there are like a set of activities for daily life, particular ones, a set that is for one each week is called habit releasers. That's very, very simple activities. It's an opportunity to practice mindfulness rather than, just simply doing a kind of things in automatic pilot, or unhelpful habits. Like, for instance, watching a kettle to boil. You think, that's quite boring in itself, But actually, if you kind of, you just, stay, for a few moments, you just looking at that and noticing, the sounds and, all what's happening, you really, in a way, it's an example of how you can relate to your own experience internally as well. So all these habit releases are really very simple exercise. In a way, they're not things that they have to, extra thing that people have to do, is things that they're already doing. They only have to kind of like engage in a mindful way throughout the day. Many of these examples, I don't think I will say more about that. One important aspect of the program, which is run throughout from third week onwards. So there's many kind of part of this pacing program. It's called pacing program, and it comes from the pain clinic of England. It's been adapted to our program, Vidyamala Adapter program, and it's basically an opportunity to using diaries and register all your activity throughout the day, throughout 7 days. In a way, you build this database that you can learn about what you do in your daily life, and then throughout the course we kind of try to kind of explore, investigate what these activities are affecting our life, and how we can work with this. Because one of the things that is very common with people with pain is that when people feel better, and so you start doing more because you want to make up for the lost time, and this leads to overactivity, which is called boom. And so it feels good, but there is a point that you reach a limit, and then again, your pain flares up, so you decrease your activities, leading to bust, which is underactivity, and then again the cycle starts again, and this could happen throughout the day, throughout a week, throughout a month, so that the cycle could have different kind of variations. And one slogan that Vidyamala uses is take a break before you break. And I think it's very good slogan that we can take, you know, and remember. So important, you know, that not to be kind of in an agony before we kind of like take a rest, you know. And you will see when she's delivering a workshop or a conference, she will stop, you know, an alarm will sound, she will stop, you know, every 15 minutes and stand up and move her posture and her body, because it's part of she realized that she cannot sit for more than 15 minutes. And that's one kind of conclusion that you can reach by doing this program, you know, with the sitting activities or any activities you do, you find the right amount of time, the right way to do it, so you don't kind of reach this limit, you know, you don't break, you don't you take a break before you break, basically, yeah. Vidyamala says. Then there is another element which I think participants probably sometimes, if they finish the course, they probably don't remember many things, but the one things they will remember at the end of the course, because it's a very important didactic element of the program, and it goes all throughout the program, is what is called the 6-step process of mindfulness and compassion. And it's a kind of map that we have developed that systematically lays out a path of deepening awareness and kindness. So I'll show you which are these 6 steps. The first step, of course, awareness is possible. Yeah. So we start kind of learning about how awareness is possible. You know, we become aware of different aspects of our experience, of our body, of our sensations, of our thoughts, of our emotion, internal, external, etc., etc. Oneself, other selves. You know, so this is the very important step. The first step, but it's probably the most important step. The second one, the second step is turning toward the unpleasant. This is when people say, "What? Are you mad? Who wants to turn towards the unpleasant?" I mean, people think that you're joking. You know, why to do that? You know, you might say, "Well, I prefer, you know, just to forget about this." You know. But in a way, this is the key element of the whole program. The whole program is about being able to face, you know, our condition, our pain, whatever our difficulties, you know, and to really learn from it and learn how we can stop adding more suffering. Yeah. And so this brings two very important qualities, which is acceptance and kindness, yeah? Self-kindness, self-compassion. So in order to do this step, we really need to be, in a way, grounded in awareness of our experience as it is in this moment, but also we need to have already kind of a feeling of how to kind of acknowledge and accept our experience and how to be kind to ourselves. So with this in mind, then we can start moving towards the unpleasant, towards our pain or difficulty. But it doesn't stop there, because the next step is seeking out the pleasant. So people really change their faces when they see this. Oh my God, this is really good. There is something like this after turning towards the unpleasant, because it's really interesting, because in a way we suffer because our pain, because our suffering, but we also suffer because our pleasure. Pleasure is also a source of suffering. So, for instance, addiction is suffering because we haven't we cling into something pleasant. Yeah? And there's so many types of addiction. It don't need to be drugs. It could be I don't know, alcohol. It could be sex and whatever. There's so many addictions nowadays that we realize that how much this addictive mind it really kind of can create suffering. But Vidyamala, what is pointing here is seeking out the pleasant. It's like, don't look for these big plates or these amazing things of, you think of pleasure and you start thinking, oh, why we don't go on traveling to somewhere, or doing to a party, whatever. It's just like to look in your experience right now. Is there something pleasant going on right now? Why don't we do it now, for instance? Can you notice anything pleasant in your experience? Perhaps the sense of the pen in your hand, holding the pen, perhaps just feeling comfortable, that you feel safe in the place where you are, perhaps just being with friends, perhaps the joy of learning with other people. I mean, there's so many things. She said that when she was in excruciating pain in the intensive care unit, she couldn't bear more, and she started kind of like sensing the bedding, the cloth of the bed, it was made of cotton, and she noticed that it was so pleasant to touch that, and from that something changed in her experience, because it was not only about unpleasant experience, it was something else going on. So your life becomes richer in a way. But we need to look at our experience in this moment. We don't need to look for pleasure somewhere else. We need to look for pleasure right now where we are. In a sense, we need to bring this quality of curiosity and appreciation. And next step is a bigger container. This is, in a way, is a metaphor for equanimity, for bringing perspective to your experience. Once you see what's going on in your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, your thoughts, you see that there are unpleasant sides of your experience, you see that there are pleasant sides of your experience, then you kind of like step back a little bit and try to see the whole of your experience, and not to over focus on just one part of your experience, because that could be a way of adding more suffering. So we need to kind of like have a more kind of balanced view of what's going on in our experience. In a way, all the time we are experiencing pleasure, and all the time we are experiencing suffering, pain. Even if, for instance, you are hungry, well, that's an unpleasant feeling, isn't it? So you don't need to wait until you have pain to experience unpleasantness. Or perhaps you have a cup of tea. Well, that's something pleasant in a way. But the idea is, with the fourth step, is you really look at the whole of your experience. You don't focus in one part of your experience. So up to now, we have been focusing like with a zoom, very much looking at the details of our experience. With a bigger container, we are like using great angular kind of lens, and looking everything what's going on in our experience. And this is an important step because it leads to a sense of connection. You connect with others. You realize that you are not alone. There are many people is having the same experience. They're all trying to get away from suffering. They all want to be happy, and And so we have all these basic tendencies, emotional tendencies that we share. So this is the common humanity part of the step, the fifth step. And the last one, which one do you think would be the last one? In a way, I already mentioned the last one. Perhaps anyone has an idea? Yeah, well, I already mentioned that is the outcome of mindfulness. The outcome of being mindfulness is choice. You bring choice into your life. So basically, you be free. You are free. You can see the whole of your experience. You know, you're not trapped in one part of your experience. You have all this sense, not only of yourself, but you know, a whole picture of others as well. You know, and choice means that you are able to respond, and not just to be victim of your habits. So rather than react, yeah. So this is in a way the outcome of the previous steps. In fact, we only call it 6 steps because we need to learn. We are learning in this world, and we're just trying to separate little bits and see how we can make sense of our experience in a way. Obviously, our experience, it happening all at once in a way, because you could see the whole 6 steps actually is mindfulness in itself. It's not something different of mindfulness. So once you start the first step, you're already starting the rest of the steps. It's not that you need to wait, to develop the first step and then you go into the second. No, it's once you start practicing mindfulness, the whole system of the 6 steps are starting in a way coming to life. You develop this mind, this heart, able to accept, to be compassionate, to be curious, to appreciate, to have perspective, to connect with a common humanity, and to have this sense of choice. Okay, and this is obviously they are all connected. So this is, I mentioned that there are 21 key concepts throughout the program, but there's one key concept that we share in the first week of the program that is probably the most striking key concept for participants, and it happens in a kind of enactment that we do in the first week. We do the enactment with participants, so it's kind of like quite synesthetic kind of experience. It's not really a concept. They kind of like they can experience it in the room. It's about how we can dismantle, how we can unpack suffering in our experience. So this comes from a Buddhist psychology, and it's called Salata Sutta, or the Sutta of the 2 arrows. Yeah, and so the first arrow is the arrow of pain. So this is pain. This is, well, you didn't pass the exam. You had a difficult conversation with someone you loved is not here anymore. You just spilled hot coffee on your leg. Well, it happened already. So this is the first arrow. Yeah, you got this experience, which is already unpleasant experience. It's difficult, it's painful, whatever. But we don't, in our internal kind of conversation, our internal mind, we don't stay just with this first arrow. We start kind of reacting, and we throw ourselves more arrows. Like it could be, I don't know, say the first arrow. We could say it could be that you are being with back pain for the last 2-3 months. What could be the conversation, your internal conversation? What could be these second, third, fourth arrows? Have you got any ideas what could be this? Any examples? Anyone?
Blame, shame.
Pardon?
Blame, shame.
Blame. Yeah.
I was so stupid. I was training, exercising too much. Now I'm paying the price for it.
That's right. Yeah. Good. I think you got the idea. This is horrible. Why me? You know, I will start. I won't be able to do things such and such thing anymore. I will lose my partner. I will lose my job. You know, I can't cope with this. You know, and the piles goes on and on and on. You know, and the arrows come. You know, more and more arrow. You know. So this is what is called secondary suffering. And the whole program is about helping you reduce or overcome secondary suffering. Yeah. So once we enroll a participant, we have an interview with this person, we say, why do you want to do the course? And so if the person say, well, I want to get rid of my pain, just we say, well, this is not your course, because the course is not about getting rid of your pain. It's about, you know, working, you know, how you relate with your pain, you know, and how you can stop creating this secondary suffering. And the tool, you know, in a way, the kind of the vision that help us to reduce the secondary suffering, the strategies and practices are captured in these 6 steps that run throughout the whole 8-week program. So let's see if it does. I got a very kind of technological here. Whoops. I mean, we do it in a very kind of friendly and very kind of enactment way in the room, but you know, I thought it's quite awkward to do it on the screen, so I thought I'll do this just for, you know, just to show it a little bit how it works. Anyway, so how mindfulness and compassion works. We have the experience of discomfort and pain, and then we relate to that with resistance, you know, with rejection, with resentment, and that leads to more suffering. So we want to kind of stop that cycle, and the whole program is to really change that in a way, that equation, and to relate to discomfort and pain with acceptance and kindness. And that leads to choice. Once you relate with acceptance and kindness, then you have a more choice. Basically, you're learning how to respond and not react to your experience. And this is really a move from the reactive mind to the creative mind. It's a move from trying to control, you know, your experience to try to love your experience. So it's really, I mean, it may look simple, but really, you know, we need to process this, and the course is about how we can make this journey, you know, how we can support you during this journey. So the last slide, sorry, I'm probably it's taking too long. So I'll just show you the kind of how it's integrated, the 6 steps each week, and then each of the meditation we have for each of the weeks. So the first week we explored the first step, and we explored the body scan meditation. And the second week we have again the first step, continue the first step, and we learn the breathing anchor meditation. And the third week we bring mindful movements, and we bring also the pacing program, and we still with the first step. So 1/3 of the course is about how to learn to be aware of our experience. So we really need to build a very robust ground, so then we can move to the fourth week, which is the week of moving towards unpleasant. And in this week, we learn the compassion acceptance meditation, which is the meditation that kind of internalize how you can do this move, this turning towards the unpleasant. And the fifth week, we have the treasure of pleasure meditation, and obviously the third step, seeking out the pleasant. The sixth week, we bring the bigger container, fourth step, and we have a meditation which is called open heart meditation. And the week 7, that's the connection step, and there is a connection meditation. And the 5th week, there is no new meditation, but there is this exploration of the 6th step, which is called choice. And so, well, this is to have a sense, what's going on throughout the course. There's a lot of thing I could say specifically about this, but what I can say in general is that at the beginning of the course, there is kind of a strong emphasis on our own experience, our internal experience, and throughout the course, we start connecting with others, connecting with the world, noticing that how important it is to come out of isolation and to connect with others. Is very important, this kind of social aspect of the practice. And also there are more emphasis in the first weeks in focus awareness, which is a kind of samatha meditation, and as the course progresses, is more in open monitoring, which is kind of a vipassana kind of a type of meditation, and insights and so on, that is kind of happening in those kind of last 4 weeks or so. And yeah, so I think that's a lot of talking from my side. I think it's a good time to perhaps invite you and to just breathe. And perhaps here, if you have something that you would like to ask or share, about what I just said. If we have enough time, I'm very happy to do another short practice to have a sense of how to work with the second step particularly.
I have a question. I don't know how much relevant it is, but if there is a person with illness and chronic pain that has no access to this course, Mindfulness and Compassion for Health, but can attend Mindfulness-based stress reduction course, and then the person is really, really in pain, what are your thoughts around it? Could it be helpful? And there's big resistance in general. Would it be helpful, or it's not the right way to go? I know it's difficult to say, but your reflections around this question.
So what you're saying is someone has got pain, but he can only access a stress course? Yes,
this okay. Mindfulness-based stress reduction.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well, I mean that's happens a lot of times. It's in a way. I think any mindfulness course that this person can do will really help. But obviously, if there is a specific program that address that aspect of our experience, painful and long-term condition, obviously it's got integrated a language and a specific kind of tools, that could really help that for that experience. But I think any mindfulness course will be helpful. But perhaps after that, it might need to look for something more specific, But sometimes, it could be that your possibilities are limited in terms of what you can access. Yeah, thank you for the questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Magdalena.
I just want to thank you first for this so structured presentation, and just want to share that I'm in the middle of this course, going through as a preparation for the teacher training in this with BreathWorks, and just want to share the personal experience how this approach can be really concentrated in one meditation. We are dealing with a real problem. During that meditation at the beginning, I have long-term breathing problems, and I had restriction in my chest. And how this approach, first becoming aware, then be with it, then becoming aware of the whole other space in the body that is perfectly okay, and how it makes a big container for this problem, and how all this together really enables you to choose how you will respond to this problem, and how this soft attitude makes on the body level more possible to get better. So, and your presentation just made me all this so more understandable after this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Magdalena. Yeah, that's a very good. You sharing your experience, and and I think it's you said here in Spain, I always put an example, like if you have a knee problem, and you come to see this person and say, hello, how you doing? And this person would say fatal, which is fatal in Spanish is like horrible, and you start looking at this person, you think, what's going on, And actually, it's just his left knee what is going, that is called pain, But language we use, we are implying that the whole of our experience is horrible. And in a way, that's the world we create, because with our thoughts, with our mind, with what we say, we create the world we live in a way. So if you say I'm horrible, well, that's the whole of you. But so the idea is like you can be more specific and say, yeah, well, actually, yes, I'm fine, but my left knee is really bad, Well, that's a different idea, isn't it? Like you have a different sense of what's going on.
Completely.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a good example.
And you can do it in tiny moments during the day. Don't have to sit for a long time in a certain position. Any position you can, any moment you choose during the day.
Yeah, actually, I want to show you the first time that Vidyamala came to Spain, she sat in meditation like this. If I put okay. I was almost in shock, she's kind of like after 30 years of meditation, she's kind of lying on the floor on a kind of a piece of rubber balloon, and then with the feet on the chair, and this is called the astronaut posture. I don't know if you ever seen this posture, but this is how Vidyamala meditates. And this is also a very important aspect of the meditation practice, that they are shorter because you are invited to do several practices throughout the day, and also we don't ask people to stoically persist in a single posture, as you do, for instance, in a Zen tradition or other programs. And it's not, you know, it's good to persist in one single posture. That is good for so many reasons. But when there is something with pain and long-term illness, you really need to be sensitive to your body. And so you can't really meditate, you know, if you are experiencing an excruciating pain, you know. So you really need to find a posture that works with you, and perhaps you need to find several postures throughout the meditation. We had a participant come in with bags of pillows, and they will, you know, find the posture that really they can actually relax, and so they can really take in the meditation. Otherwise, it was kind of like they could not meditate, you know. So it's a very kind of a specific kind of type of approach that we are kind of trying to communicate. And you really need to be creative and very kind to yourself, you know, not to try to kind of do like this because everyone else, you've seen the meditation, everyone else is like rigidly sitting, you know, like doing like this. So we really encourage people to find the way that can really help for the practice. So yeah, I forgot to mention this last slide, but it is a very important point actually, because I think people value that possibility of being able to take care of themselves, you know, that they normally ask, you know, but you know, excuse me, but I don't think I can do this course, you know, I've seen people meditating and I cannot sit in meditation like that. And when you say, well, look, don't worry, you know, we will give you many options, and we invite you to bring material, you know, and we really work around that. Don't worry. Some people even brought a foldable bed to their meditation room, and we had to kind of like put this massive meditation foldable bed in the middle of the room, you know. And so it really, you know, it's about being creative, you know, and being kind of empathetic with what their experience is. Anyway.
I think Tian raised her hand. Tian, is it still relevant? Do you want to speak up?
Oh, thank you so much. You kind of answered my question already. And thank you so much for your presentation. It means a lot to me. Well, in my early 20s, but I suffer for chronic back pain for a long time. I know it's kind of sad, but thanks to mindfulness and it's kind of dirty, excuse me. Yeah, thanks to mindfulness, and I have to basically explore how to manage pain and how to overcome. Basically, I need to learn how to accept it. I experienced it myself, so I can understand how challenging and unpleasant it is. So I'm just curious. Yeah, that's the hardest step during this process. How can you help participants kind of de-escalate or ease on their anger, their doubt and comfort during this process?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, I think it's kind of quite systematic and progressive, and we kind of like work with emotions and thoughts, you know, from the very beginning of the course, and in a way, you know, we invite people to really look at their thoughts, at their emotions, in a way that they don't identify with them. They don't try to suppress them. They just try to kind of like let them be in a way. And it's it's easy to say in a way, but we're talking here that we take the participant in a journey that we learn little by little, how to do this. In a way, you learn how you can regulate yourself, how you can take a bit of perspective on your emotional states, on your mental states, and that little by little makes that your thoughts and your emotion, they lose the control over you, and you gain the kind of like more perspective. Perhaps they don't disappear, perhaps they are there, but now they're not controlling you. You're not trapped in them. You have this distance of perspective, of equanimity. So yeah, it's something that we do. It's not so easy to explain conceptually, but I think it's something that we definitely put a lot of resources and tools and practices to how to relate to all different aspects of our experience. And I think to bring perspective is probably the most useful one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And do you think talking directly to them or put them in the same group who shared the same experience would help?
Absolutely. Yeah, you got it. Definitely. I mean, the standardized programs are really made for group experience. And I think that's most of the programs have been researched and measured in a group setting. And that's where the best results are. You can get. You can do it one-to-one, and of course you still get a very good result. But I think we are social people, and we learn from each other, and I think it's so beautiful and so inspiring when you do it in a group setting. You learn, even if you do nothing, even if you are like completely, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just sitting here and look at others, what they do, I mean, you still learn a lot. I remember people say, well, I just give it a go, but I don't think this is good for me, I just sit in that corner. You say, okay, don't worry. And those people probably at the end of the course are the people that probably have learned most because they kind of like, they really transformed, their experience just by sitting there. My teacher, Zuázquita, says that like, just the fact of being aware, only being aware is transformative. You don't need to do anything special in a way, just being aware. But, you can also say that, being aware in itself is intentional. You need to really work with it, and I think once you are aware, you are in half of the journey in a way. The rest, will start unfolding if you maintain your intention.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. And I believe that all participants need to hear the quote, "Take break before you break." Yeah, that's my favorite quote.
That's Vidyamala's quote. It's really, really good, short but very kind of insightful, and useful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Katharina.
What I found or find very insightful is that in this case, step 2, looking at the unpleasant comes before looking at the pleasant. Because with the principle of connecting to what is, you're not searching because it's already there. Well, in MBSR and MBCT, we first go to connecting with the pleasant because we estimate that that is easier for people to connect to, and preparing them to then go to the unpleasant. So I really think it's a nice, it's a logical and relevant way that in this case, the unpleasant is already so present first connecting to that.
Yeah. That's a very good point, Katharina. Thank you for bringing it up. Many people they question, why the second step, why don't you do seeking out the pleasure first? And but there's so much energy that we kind of blocked just by trying to resist and to reject our experience. So in a way, we don't have, this is what Vidyamala's explanation is, that like our energy is so much engaged in just trying to resist and block our painful experience that we don't have energy to look for the pleasant. So in a way, if we go to the pleasant, in a way, you kind of bypass your unpleasant experience. And obviously, we would love to do that in a way, but the human experience is what it is, and what really makes us suffering is our painful experience. In a way, is on in your face, and once you can kind of make it a bit of room, then it's easier to see the pleasant side. But if not, it's kind of like it's still in your room, in your face, and so you're still looking for a pleasant thing. But how can you see? Because you can't see, because it's kind of like in your face, And so I think it's a paradox, because it's difficult to understand for many of us. Why don't we just go to the pleasant side? But I think it's very good to reflect on that, and I really appreciate that you brought this point. It probably is a long reflection that will take you perhaps many weeks or months or years even to say, why is this, and I think it's good to try and see if it works for you.
And there was another point, when in MBSR or MBCT, we often have people, at least in my groups, people who do not have high body awareness, who have like numb feelings. It's not pleasant, it's not, they don't feel anything. Here we obviously have people who feel a lot. Mm-hmm. And here you use the movement to gain back the confidence in movement. And that I find that so elegant and so consoling, that the movement is used to regain that confidence. And the other word I think you said, to also increase or embrace, I don't know which word you had, to embrace the mobility you still have.
Yeah.
That is so soft, that is so mild, so gentle.
Yeah, definitely. That's it's not, as I say, it's not an exercise, it's kind of, it's a movement, and the difference is really important, because in a movement you're more focused in the quality, of your attention, how you engage with your experience. You need to kind of bring curiosity and really be fascinated by yourself, by your body. I mean, not yourself in an egoistic way, but the complexity of your body and the beauty of your body. And I think it really brings you back in a very gentle and very easy way, because it's very, very simple movement. And I think I agree with you in this point as well. And no matter how diverse functionality you have, I mean, I've seen so many people, in wheelchairs, in different conditions, people that could only move certain parts of their bodies. And you can even propose, to use imagination, as there are research that even if you imagine the movement, it still has an effect. So that's quite hopeful, for people that have difficulties with the bodies, So even just imagine that you're doing the movement, it could have an effect. So as subtle as that, it could go, you know, the idea of really doing this movement, you know, and it's I think it's a good kind of like way to regain this connection with yourself, yeah, and with others as well, you know, because we love to move, you know, as human beings, you know, but we have perhaps a very rigid idea about how we need to move, and we need to again find ways of moving that we can adapt to ourselves, and there's always a way. Well, I've seen that many people have disappeared. I think that shows that we are a bit over time, and
Most people are still here.
yeah,
Still here. So I mean, the ones who are here, it's okay, and if you want to leave, that's also okay. I realize, Dharmakirti, that we didn't touch upon the work you do in Middle and South America. Maybe those of you who would like to know about that, we can connect to you there, because that's also a very important part of your work, to be able to share that in other cultures and to disseminate it all over the world. I put the link to the tomorrow's meeting with Vidyamala in the chat. For those of you who want to know, you can go to the eamba news section and it's there. Also, Dharmakirti, much gratitude to you for sharing what you do with your association in Spain. So it's very nice that you bring that value to the community, not only today, but also on the 22nd. So please keep up that good work and help us bring it to the community.
Thank you so much for inviting me and for, you know, asking me to share all this work of Vidyamala, and I hope that this is the beginning of many opportunities to meet again and celebrate, you know, all what mindfulness and compassion is kind of helping our societies and, you know, the people around us in Europe and all over the world, really. I think it can be perhaps a little kind of small, but I think, you know, is something really important, and I think is something that really goes to what we are really as human beings, you know, what is important for us. And I think it's no matter how small, how little it is, I think it will grow and it will reach many people, and I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and also happy that Spain is also present in our association. So with also a few other meetings. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think we'll be there in the meeting of the council, eamba council. Some of us from the Spanish network will be there joining as well. So we look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your good work. Amazing. So, yeah.